Good afternoon, fans of Rando, and welcome to this speed gaming presentation of the Link to the Past Randomizer Daily Race Series. Our race today is going to be a casual boots race, which means you start with the sword in your hand and the boots on your feet. My name is MindDM. I am joined alongside in the booth by Torin the Dragon. Torin, how are you doing this afternoon?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. It's my first time doing this, but it's all exciting news for me, so yeah.
Well, that just means that everybody in chat is going to help keep us honest. We've got a couple of wonderful trackers here in Professor Renderer and Professor Pixie who are going to be pushing those buttons to make sure that everything shows up. In the age of Quick Swap, we don't always get to see the runner's menus as much as we might like, so, every little bit helps.
Of course it does.
And we do apologize the couple of minutes delay here. We were searching for one more tracker to make sure that we could actually have the full 4-player restream, and now everybody is going to get underway. So, Casual Boots, that mode where you have to start in the rain, you have to go in and rescue the princess. We've got a Crystal at Eastern. I think that was a Crystal at Desert and a Pendant at Hera. That was an awfully fast map check by Illis.
Yeah, it always happens. But you always love the early map check.
You get a little additional information, you start to have some idea of where you're going to want to head once the seed starts giving you a little more direction in terms of the items you have in hand.
And there is a Master Sword. Wow.
Bright and early Master Sword going to get the job done for our runners here. All of a sudden the firepower has just increased tremendously.
Now everyone is now in the castle. We'll figure out what else is going to happen further on onto the seed.
It's kind of like Standard, it is technically a standard start, but unlike Standard, the uncle did not necessarily have to give our runners any particular thing. Red 20 is entirely within bounds for this because you start with that sword in your hand. But other than that, you have to find that small key like everybody's finding here in the Blue Guard room, and have to use that to get through Dark Cross.
At least, thankfully, when you have a standard start, at least you do get that lamp, even though you don't really necessarily need the lamp.
Yeah, one of those things that you don't necessarily need, but it is one of those nice quality of life items. Also with the casual boot start, of course, you're in the situation where you can just bonk into the back of Escape. Now, our runners have found plenty of bombs already, but in a situation where they hadn't, those boots could still get the job done. So I suppose we'll say while we are seeing the fights with the Ball and Chain Guard, everybody more or less in the same place here, we do have the full 4-runner restream going for you with Illis and Fear Agent over there on the left-hand side and Smirk JD and Captain 1977 on the right. Much appreciation to all 4 of these runners for agreeing to be restreamed and to put on the show for y'all this afternoon. Maybe a little lesser known to some people if you are newer to the mode, but those dashes that you saw Fear Agent and Illis performing there, and hopefully our 2 runners on the right will be performing, is faster than just kind of walking back through that little maze of, what do we call those, barriers? Yep, everybody's going to go out and around with the boots. You get those nice long straightaways instead.
Because, running is always faster than just walking. We all know this.
As long as you're covering at least 4 tiles, it absolutely is. Going to have Fear Agent and Illis into the dark here right on top of each other. Well, Smirk and Captain are just a couple of rooms away from that. These boots allowing our runners to just go flying right on through here. Of course, we'll see Dark Cross. There's the map showing up. Kind of unfortunate, but now our runners know that everything else in this sequence is going to be an item of some kind.
Skill items. Be useful, be not useful. You can't always complain on what you can get. It just, you gotta remember, keep on going and find them some more stuff. Oh. Wow. Okay. Early Moon Pearl.
So we have that early Moon Pearl to go along with our early 2 swords. I wonder how our runners feel about the possibility of a lamp showing up here in the near future, because there's only one more piece left for the AGA access puzzle, and it is that lamp. Simultaneous escape exits from Illis and Fear Agent there. Zelda going to take her place on the dais there next to the priest, opening up the poor box. Somebody had hidden some fireworks in there, apparently.
Maybe they're still trying to celebrate the 4th of July. Still.
Well, you want to get rid of those leftovers before the next year comes around. Otherwise, you're trying to fire off half-year-old fireworks at New Year's, and nobody wants that.
Yeah.
So with those boots on the feet, it looks like both Illis and Fear Agent want to go ahead and make an early check of Lumberjack, particularly with this kind of AGA access puzzle coming together pretty quickly. Makes a whole lot of sense. I think that was just a 20 rupee, however.
Yep. Okay, so map check is there is a crystal on Desert Palace and Eastern Palace, with the blue crystal pendant being in Tower Hera.
Kind of a mixed bag as far as Light World goes. Kinda don't like to see Hera as a pendant, since I feel like you always wind up in there unless you're playing something where you get access to the spoiler log. But, it's an easy enough dungeon to dip.
Looks like Illis is trying to arm a water walk.
That is an interesting choice. This whirlpool going to drop Illis out over by Ice Rod Cave, I believe.
Mm.
Kind of an interesting little bit of divergence that's available if you have either the boots to arm that water walk, or maybe a bow and some bombs to fire off a splash deletion.
Spear Agent is clearing Blind's head at the moment, with a good old bug net on the top right chest, and Ice Rod having Fire Rod. Interesting.
I don't know that we can call that French vanilla so much as maybe Neapolitan. Also, should probably mention that Smirk also checked the Lumberjack while Captain decided to forego that check for the moment. So 3 of our 4 runners on Restream have the information that the Lumberjack ledge not paying out today.
Ooh, that's a good... There's some good old rupees. And Fear Agent finding the flippers in the well. As long... And as Case of Mario, according to what the tracker has put on there, because I honestly missed it.
Yeah, flippers and Cane of Samaria. Those flippers mean that all of these checks that Illis is making are going to snap back into logic just as soon as Illis gets back over to the village and picks those flippers up.
Good old Hobo having the bottle, as he always does in vanilla, even though it's always empty. But, since it's randomizer, it's always going to be a random item in the bottle.
Yep, Rando allowing us to change things up ever so slightly. Illis is going to continue this putting off the village for just as long as possible, really hoping to find something like a flute before heading back over there. You can get all that activation and whatnot done in one fell swoop.
And looks like there is a armor upgrade on the library.
Yeah, always nice to get that blue mail, particularly when you're still on 5 or 6 hearts like our runners are.
Oh yeah, that's right. Ellis can check Sick Kid now since they had the bottle.
That is one of the intended advantages of trying to put off the village, is to have something like that bottle or the flute that I was mentioning earlier. Maybe you even find the hammer and the magic bag and you can make a magic bat check early. Looks like both Smirk and Captain also want that blue mail, no surprise there.
I don't blame any runner that says, yeah, it's an early armor upgrade. Definitely wouldn't mind taking it myself.
Especially when you're hoping to be in the Dark World pretty much as fast as possible, and in a lot of cases the damage table starts in the Dark World at 2 hearts and goes up from there. Smirk going to take that full heart container off the race game. Captain has already saved and quit out and is out onto South
Oh,
Shore.
there's
Illis.
the lamp. Mmm.
Illis and Fear Agent pulling that lamp out of Agina. We have the Aga care package well in hand. Now, that also puts everything aside from the boss of Eastern Palace in logic. We would need a bow for that to snap into place.
As Fear Agent is continuing to go towards Eastern Palace.
At the very least, wants to see Saha's closet here. It's a nice 3-item dense location. Can ask Saha about the location of the green pendant if he's so inclined.
And nothing behind his closet.
Not ready to make that play into Crystal Eastern with no bow, I see. We'll probably see that South Shore and the Flipper Checks plays out of Fear Agent next.
Mm.
Meanwhile, Illis is going to get to make all of these village checks that we've seen from the rest of our runners, plus one new one in the form of that check of the small child with that bottle in hand. Not really valuable, just the week's lunch money. Thanks primarily to Illis's decision to use that water walk and head over to Ice Rod Cave bright and early, our runners are really kind of retracing each other's footsteps right at the moment. If they want to be able to avoid Aga, they're really going to need Eastern Palace to be stacked, I think.
To be quite honest, though, it just makes me feel like that the scene really wants all of runners to go into, go up top and get a certain person named Aga.
Sometimes you just have to have the argument with the wizard. The seed has been hinting in that direction ever since that Master Sword showed up before. Ooh, and Smirk has gone ahead and run by Hylia Island there. I'm sure some other runners have done that and I missed it, but I did catch it this time. A hook shot there on Hylia Island. Going to need the mirror to show up at some point.
Oh boy.
So it'll be interesting to see. Illis is going to finish up the village checks here in the near future. Still, I believe. No, Illis was in the forest because that's where Illis armed with the water walk. So what is the next play here? Having kind of wiped out everything, still has the eastern area on hand.
Could be something. Could still be on Zora now since Flippers did show up. But it's only just the one check, so.
And it seems that Illis hears those aga noises that the seed has been making. They are ringing very loudly in the ears, and we are going to see an aga play here at 15 minutes.
Interesting. The fairy fountain in the back had a fairy for it, which is really nice. Show up.
Bottle refill being fairies is one of the nicer ones for sure. It's going to do a lot more than that the bee in the bottle was going to, and it appears that Smirk has designs on heading into Eastern Palace with no bow here.
So there is a glove on the Hylia ledge.
That is interesting. If Smirk pulls a glove or a hammer here out of Eastern Palace, we are going to have an averted aga play, and Illis is going to be giving 4 or 5 minutes to the other runners. That first item in Eastern, just a piece of heart, however.
It looks like Fair Agent is going up the mountain. Maybe. Yep.
Seems to be a mountain play. In logic 2 checks, and going to be able to have a look at what's on top of Spectacle Rock. Is going to need a mirror to get whatever that item is, of course. Meanwhile, Captain is... this is probably a bottle turn in at the small child. Going to be rewarded with those 20 rupees, while Fear Agent is rescuing the old man here. Just receives 10 sticks for the time and trouble. And Smirk, I think, still on one item here, just pulled the big key. I think the second chest there was the compass. Here's our second item, just 50 bucks.
And it looks like inside the Spectacle Rock Cave was a little shield. But I kind of missed what's on the top. Oops.
Yep, that happens, and whatever the outcome there was, Fear Agent has decided that it is time for this aga play. So, Illis first to aga is currently amidst the fight, and Fear Agent going to be following on behind here in just a couple of minutes.
We do have I don't remember if anyone checked it before, but I think with Captain checking the Agina's cave.
This is where the lamp was.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. My bad.
The runners generally unlikely to avail themselves of the play up aga tower until that lamp shows up, so, this made more sense for Illis and Fear Agent, and Captain making a few more checks first is going to be rewarded with that lamp, although it may be a bit of a questionable reward sometimes. And it appears that Smirk's final reward there was the bug-catching net.
Bug catching net was in Blind's hideout.
I was guessing based on the fact that that was the only bug-catching net lit up, but here we are.
Hmm.
So, Smirk, the last of our 4 featured runners to find that lamp. Let's see what the play is here. I don't think that he has a whole lot left. He can go up the mountain for a couple of checks if he wants to. While Illis is through that fight with the wizard and into the dark world, going to head for bowless, hammerless, mirrorless Palace of Darkness. The missing piece of the puzzle with that glove that was on the ledge that Illis was water walking around and was otherwise unable to get at. The flippers were a little later in Illis's route than everybody else's. We may actually be seeing an item on Catfish here rather than in the front of Palace of Darkness, but this may well pay out for him.
Now this is interesting. Smirk finally has the good old 500 rupees to turn into King Zora, so that might be something interesting to see what King Zora has.
The route seems to have worked out in that regard. The downside to this would be if the next play is into Pod, Smirk is going to need to come up with another 110 rupees.
Oh yeah.
It appears the answer was not actually the front of Palace of Darkness. Illis now into Sahasrah's closet instead. Smirk showing us the Zor Lord who has the shovel.
Good old shovel. Always hear some people likes to have a fish quest here and there, you know.
Now, Smirk could use that shovel to dig up some rupees maybe. The glove is probably a bit better. Could go farm the 50 rupee cave over under the rock on the way to Desert Palace instead.
Funny thing is, if somehow there is another glove that's on shovel spot, it puts Smirk in a unique situation where he has Dark World access early instead of doing the Aga play. But it's highly unlikely, but it somehow happens to be that. That is be really cool. Oh,
And
there's a
it's
hammer.
the hammer.
Oh my gosh, that's so big.
Smirk has avoided the Aga play. The wizard will not die on Smirk's side. Illis and Fear Agent have given 5 minutes to Smirk JD. Now, of course, we're not trying to demean Smirk in any way here, but Illis and Fear Agent are substantially more experienced runners and can probably afford that 5 minutes.
Man, that that's crazy though to see that.
Sometimes being thorough in the Light World absolutely pays off. Smirk going to take that hammer and glove Dark World access and start right at Hype Cave.
How hype is it? We'll determine how hype it is.
After pulling the hammer off the shovel, I wouldn't expect it to be hype at all, but here we go.
Mail upgrade. That's it.
Shovel on King Zora to the hammer at the dig spot. Wowza seed, that is a logical chain, alright.
5 and 6 on Skull Woods and Pod. Crystals on Thieves Town, Misery Mire, and that's the only thing I got actually saw.
Swamp and TR were our pendants.
Yeah.
And of course our wonderful trackers catching that and getting that put in just as quickly as the software allows. Illis taking advantage of the rupee room there in Eastern Palace, maybe a little lesser used room sometimes, but is going to raise that rupee count up to 492, closing in on the Zora value that we now know all of our runners need.
Alright, Captain finally getting his shovel.
We'll see if Captain decides to follow that before making the Aga play. It appears that that is the idea.
And it looks like Fear Agent is attempting a Mimic Clip in Pod.
Smirk, deciding that one good shovel deserves another, has gone over and performed the dig game. And as I say that, Fear Agent is successful with that Mimic Clip. This is absolutely out of logic. The game does not expect that you will know or perform this trick. But it does enable a couple of extra checks here and is going to allow Fear Agent to more or less clear the dungeon out. Now, Captain also has that hammer in hand, is going to go to that portal just south of Link's house as well, probably also going to make that immediate stop off at Hype Cave and find the red mail and some money. Illis is on into the flipper checks, is still a couple of rupees short of actually paying off the old scam master, who is not scamming today, is just extorting our runners instead. And Fear Agent, I believe, having found already 2 non-small keys in the front of Palace of Darkness, is into the back, where the actual density tends to lie. Illis going to go ahead and get this glove, but is still those 7 rupees short.
Man, that... I'm saying it is still... Man, I'm just saying, it's just kind of hard to say about it being just 7 rupees shy.
It is a tough spot to be in for sure. Illis going to go ahead and take that glove and make those couple of checks up the mountain. While Smirk is in the middle of Skull Woods. Not entirely sure how many items may have appeared here already, but with the fire rod in hand to begin with, also that fairy in the bottle as the refill, likely to see the play straight to the moth at this point.
It is.
Yeah, Smirk got that 300 in Waterfall and just kind of scrounged up the rest of the rupees and was late enough to Zora that he'd gotten, 4 or 5 over the 500 mark and had just enough to make it. It's Blue Cane on top of Spectacle Rock. Illis not even going to dive in for the look-see first, is just going to go and try and get whatever this item is.
Which I think it was a shield. That's how I remember. Yeah.
Fear Agent, having sequence broken as much of Pod as he cares to, is going to go ahead and have the look at Catfish, which might be something that Illis has in mind now. And we're getting some Hammer Mothula on Smirk's side. That was a very nicely performed Hammer Mothula.
Man, I actually love to see that. A little bit hard to, hitbox stuff with the hammer is a little bit finicky here and there, but it didn't really matter to Smirk.
With the red mail, it's a little easier to bully your way right in. You know, the 9 or 10 hearts kind of gets the job done. You do have the safety of that fairy in the bottle to scoop you up in case you are a little too personal with the moth. So we have Fear Agent making a play over to Eastern Palace now, it appears.
As Catfish has another 300 rupees on him.
That will cover the rest of that Zora money that both Fear Agent and Illis needed to acquire. But Fear, at least, is going to be in Eastern before making the play to the Zora Lord.
Catfish hinting at the other fish according to chat.
Yep, one fish pointing at another. Illis is going to receive this shovel. I cannot imagine that there's going to be a great deal of rejoicing going on there, knowing that this is close to, if not the absolute last location, and then it just turns into a fetch quest, so the actual
there's a
gratification is
flute.
delayed. Ooh,
Oh man,
yeah,
that's crazy. Having flute here.
that is in fact a flute over there on Smirk's side, tucked away in the front of Skullwoods, trying to set up the spin/bomb jump. Kinda came off the lip of that pit there a little too far. Going to set it up with the hammer dash instead, which seems to have worked out better for him. That's not a version of the trick that I can perform, but that was very cleanly done. Captain working his way on back towards the moth here. And Illis just about to dig up the hammer.
And as, of course, Pinball Room having the last item.
Feels like it does not matter how you actually go about checking Skullwoods, your last item is always in the 8th possible check, and it's the book.
Interesting.
Looks like Smirk wants to take the Death Warp out of here, but that fairy is going to say, wait a minute.
Wait a minute, you can't do that here. You have to be revived.
We have Captain in the moth fight is down to half a heart here. Does have that fairy in the bottle, thankfully, because the spikes were not being kind. Illis about to pick up that red mail in Hype Cave, and let's see where Smirk wants to go. Let's also see where Fear Agent wants to go. May still be the small child check on Fear Agent's side.
Oh, there's Ice Rod. Right there in Bumper Cave.
Smirk thinks he wants it, but I don't think that he has the cape yet, so that's not going to work out terribly well for him. Also interesting wanting that ice rod, even though we know that Turtle Rock is a pendant, and I'm reasonably certain that Smirk is was in fact the first person to make that Dark World map check. Fear Agent appears to be on track to find the shovel, which is going to lead to the hammer and Dark World access that actually matters. Illis pulling some money off of the dig game. And Smirk filling out Village of Outcasts while Captain is taking an intentional death warp back to the front of the back of Skull Woods. So we'll get Illis into the Dark World here. Smirk pulling Quake out of that chest game.
And Smirk now continuing to do Thieves Town.
Makes sense, he's in the area now. It's another one of those crystal dungeons that he needs to beat the game anyway. And pulls
There's a
the
mirror. Wow, there's the mirror to get the hookshot that's on Lake Hylia Island.
Pull the mirror right out of the first chest of Thieves Town. Still a crystal dungeon that he can full clear. There's no reason to leave based on that, but as you mentioned,
Yeah.
the hookshot on Hylia Island absolutely in play now, which means that we also, with that mirror in hand, technically have the full care package for Pendant Swamp. Who wants the full care package for Pendant Swamp in this seed? How much do you think the seed might be hinting at it when you're still looking for your Titan's Mitts? The hookshot not really going to do hookshot cave for you at the moment.
Also, that's true. Desert Palace is fully clearable with that book in hand.
Have the book, have a glove, have both possible fire sources for lighting torches, even the boots, so a boots lock would not matter. Yep. Desert Palace absolutely on the table for our runners now. Illis also into Thieves Town, also picking that mirror up, going to be chasing on Smirk's heels. Of course, Smirk did Skullwoods first, so that's a little advantage in clearing already done in the Dark World. Captain going ahead and attempting to pull the last of the items out of the front of Skullwoods here.
Well, that is also true. So, chat did say something interesting. Since they have the mirror in hand, they can also, once they finish Thieves Town, go ahead and mirror activate flute.
That's a good spot for it, and since they've already done, I think all of our runners really decided to go ahead and gain access to the dig game from the entrance at 4 and headed west from Hype Cave, aside from maybe Fear Agent. So there's not a whole lot to the south of the Dark Village for most of our runners to do. Looks like none of these enemies really cooperating with Smirk in the back of Thieves Town here. Illis is already up and about to bomb open the attic. Fear Agent heading for the back as well, and Captain is in the overworld there in Village of Outcasts, going to make a couple of checks and then likely to dive into Thieves Town himself. Looks like our runners have seen no small key here, and Smirk, having checked the last possible location that it could have been, now knows that the small key is locked away in the big chest. Nothing to be concerned about, although with the hammer in hand, it's not as though our runners were ever going to have to worry about that fact. It's just a nice little time save not to have to go running over there. Blind informing us that Sausage is in fact the worst, and Smirk is unfortunately already off script.
Luckily, he does have that armor to help at least take some damage here and there.
Just needs to get one more hit in here, has plenty of hearts to get it done with, and does. Looks like the thief was holding on to all of the money this time. Probably more importantly, a second crystal in hand for Smirk there at 38 minutes and a half.
Seems pretty fast to me. As Illis is just right behind, getting their first crystal.
Yeah, much cleaner, took no damage at all there on Illis' side. That's exactly how you want that fight to go.
Mark finally activating the flute.
As surmised and expected, mirroring right over and activating the duck. Let's see if Smirk has designs on heading somewhere else, or if that's going to be... Yep, still standing there rather than getting back into the portal, going to be fluting away.
Thinking Smirkus might be getting the hook shot. Seems like.
That would not be surprising with the possibility of a bow lock in pod and no potion currently in the bottle. Probably the pendant there in Swamp Palace, a little more enticing than a play into a crystal dungeon that Smirk does not have any idea whether or not he could really even sink his teeth into. Fear Agent also on through with that Thieves Town play. Still working on the southern part of the Village of Outcasts.
Oh, Smirkus actually doing Desert Palace.
A flute to 6 and a play into the full clearable Crystal Desert? That makes all the sense in the world. It's only 2 items worth of density, but it is one of those crystals that you need to beat the game eventually anyway. And of course the hope here on Smirk's side is that something like the Titansmiths just shows up here and he never has to worry about that play into Pendant Swamp Palace. Personally, I would still have my suspicions with where and how that hookshot showed up, that maybe I'm intended to get into the back of Pendant Swamp to get something that I'm going to need. Captain is on into the tail end of Thieves Town here, is going to be picking up the False Maiden momentarily, going to be safe, pick up a couple of hearts here. Good game knowledge that there are hearts under both of those pots on the right-hand side, while Illis is in fighting the Moth, and Fear Agent is right there in the middle picking up the big key and heading towards the back of Skullwoods as well. Maybe a little more damage taken by Illis in that Moth fight than the blind fight, but Moth is not a scripted fight. Sometimes you just have to wait for the Moth to cooperate, so still 3.5 hearts left and puts another crystal on the board there.
Someone in chat is asking if that small key that's on the torch in Desert Palace, does the logic still think that they still need boots?
Yes, if you have a key of any kind on that torch, Desert is logically boots locked. Now, if it is the small key and the big key is in that middle chest, you can absolutely sequence break around it. But it's good knowledge to know that it's still logically boots locked, because if you get to GT and you see a big key on the torch, do not go looking for your boots in the rest of GT. Because they're going to be out there in the rest of the world somewhere that is not something locking away Desert Palace. If Desert Palace is one of your crystals, you're good to know where your boots can actually be hiding.
I think I do remember seeing the green 20, which is usually the boots in this game. I honestly do not know if that's still like in their logic if they do find that green 20. I really don't know.
No, the placement of that has no logical implications whatsoever.
Fair enough.
Here we have Illis with the flute activation, Fear Agent taking down the Moth, also gaining access to another one of those crystals. I believe all of our runners are now tied up at 2 apiece. And Smirk is stepping into Landmola's, has that fire rod out, going to go ahead and fling some fire around the room. Getting a little short hopped there by Landmo 3, but seems to have the fight well in hand.
And another little short hop.
And now out of magic, going to have to clean this up with the Master Sword. Of course, Master Sword spins, doing more than enough damage, doing tempered slash damage. And that's a third crystal on the board for Smirk. Doesn't seem that anything else particularly interesting has appeared out of Desert Palace, however, so the next play remains to be seen.
Looks like they're doing the East Death Mountain play here soon.
Mountain has some solid density to it. That mirror also enabling the check, of course, so does the hookshot. Just depends on which way around Smirk wants to go. And it seems that Illis is hearing the same noises from the seed that I am, is going to go ahead and make this play into Pendant Swamp Palace. While Captain picks that hookshot up off of the Hylia Island, and it looks like Fear Agent is heading in a very similar direction. Alright, Captain, I think, is still needing to turn that flute on, is heading back to the village for that purpose. Fear Agent has finally made the trip as far as Hype Cave, going to be the final of our 4 featured runners here to pick up that red mail. And Smirk deciding that the blue cane is worthy as a first safety item. We also get an ether tablet check. Full heart container, not bad, but not really the progression our runners are seeking at this late date. I would have to imagine that being on red mail and already well into that second row of hearts, that our runners are feeling reasonably comfortable.
As Ether Medallion showing up in the basement of Tower Hera.
We still don't know if we need that or not, but it's always nice to have another medallion in hand.
And it looks like Smirk is doing a hook speed strat. Gets it.
He's already seen one item in here, so bypassing the big key makes at least some sense. Now, of course, this is a pendant dungeon, so the desire to defeat the boss is maybe not necessarily there.
He found both items.
Finding both items does the trick. That mirror says, I can leave right now. Now, Illis just pulled the cape out of the middle of Swamp Palace here. And we've seen that ice rod on the bumper ledge.
Wow, apparently the East Death Mountain play is showing up with a gold sword?
Mountain play interesting, but Illis has read the seed properly. That was the Titan's mitts in one of the diver down chests.
Wow. Man.
I cannot be surprised in the slightest. I've been calling that for quite some time now.
Oh yeah.
Looks like another fairy in the bottle up there on the mountain as well. So this will be interesting. Illis going to spy the desert ledge item really quick, and with the mirror and those mitts as well as the flute, can get into the mire area and give us a look.
So this mirror holds as bombos.
Interesting. The only medallion we have not seen yet. Now, it may well be a case of key under the doormat here. Let's wait for Illis to make a couple of checks before we start speculating about where it might be. The Meyer Shack, just a little old place where we can pick up 2 pieces of heart today.
Crazy how there's 2 swords side by side in the top of Paradox Cave.
Go to Paradox Cave, get all of the combat potential that you really need to beat just about anything that exists in the world of Hyrule. And Smirk is probably also aiming at Swamp Palace here. We could also see things along the lines of Bombos Tablet K45. Captain about to be rewarded with those couple of swords as well, and Fear Agent going to go ahead and make this dip into Swamp. Will be rewarded, of course, with those Titan's Mitts here in a minute or two. Okay, so Torin, I have a question. I see
Yes.
Drossi in chat saying that he got that reference I made, and I don't remember making one. Should I admit that live on air?
I kind of missed it myself, to be fair with you too.
Well, here we are.
Drossi, can you explain better?
Ooh, homemade beer caught it too. This is a problem.
Oh no. Love Shack, medium. Oh,
Oh, yeah, the Meyer Shack reference. We had already gotten so far beyond that that I'd put it out of the mind. You know, there's a black rock by the flute spot to 6 that says 15 dash pixels to the Meyer Shack, or, you know, however far it actually is. We'd have to count it out someday, and that would be more difficult than I care to do. We'll just leave it as a mildly amusing reference and go from there.
Oh yeah.
Okay, where is Smirk going? Smirk, please. What was that?
What did you?
Made the entire 360-degree circuit around that rock with, what is that, 3 extra screen transitions?
Really a misdirected dash.
Yes, but one of the zeros even stopped him the first time. He could have just walked south.
He's playing his own bingo.
Now I happen to know that he is in a bingo tournament, so, you know, maybe he has a bingo card up and is practicing. There's no telling. Illis going to drop by Checkerboard Cave here, is just going to see 20 rupees. And Captain going to head for Desert, unfortunately without the mitts yet. Now it is still a crystal dungeon. He's going to be rewarded with crystal number 3 on his board for clearing it out. But Smirk has already been in here, and we've seen that there's not actually any value beyond that crystal.
Ellis is doing the Ice Palace.
Another one of those fully logical crystal dungeons. And there are 3 items worth of potential value in here and that crystal that he needs to beat the game.
The only thing difference with Ellis is they still are on Master Sword.
Has not yet gone up the mountain. Now, I cannot imagine that a runner of Illis caliber is going to have any particular problem clearing out Cold Stare with Master Sword and Hammer. More likely Hammer.
The big key being in the first check in Ice Palace.
It's one of those things that's nice to have, but really you kind of hope to see a small key to make everything else just a little easier. Not going to go back and hit the switch, is intending to full clear this dungeon anyway, and of course already has that big key in hand.
As Ellis demonstrates here, you can also do a trick called Icebreaker. All you have to do is basically put yourself a little bit to the little bumper there, throw a King Samaria down, and try to buffer 1 frame to the left, I believe. And somehow the game thinks you have to go through the wall, because the game is fully optimized.
Yeah, the Cane of Samaria block extends what is known as the door state. The door wants to spit you out, and so if you're trying to move in a direction that is not out, it's going to keep trying to force you that way until you get out of the door, and with that door state extended, well, it just pushes you right on through the rail, because, you know, it's a very well programmed game. It is, in point of fact, a very well-programmed game. It does not do two things at the same time terribly well, but a lot of these things are things that we have gone out of our way to break, and also things that got patched out after the 1.0 version of the game, which is what we based the randomizer on, which allows us to do a lot of these things that would otherwise not be possible. Illis going to go with the combined Fire Rod and Beam strats, and then fill fully back up on Magic with that green potion to have just as many Fire Rod shots as possible to handle these Cold Stare buffs. Fear has gone ahead and cleared out Desert Palace, another crystal on the board there. And Smirk, having cleared out left side swamp for I believe no value, is on into the back. While Captain is just buttering up those Landmollas, 1, 2, and 3 fried worms, going to see some explosions, that piece of heart there, and crystal number 3 for Captain. But crystal number 4 for Illis. A very nicely executed Cold Stare fight with just a little bit of everything.
This is interesting. Yeah, it's like quite interesting. I don't know if he was thinking about the same thing I was about to say, but interesting. Smirk is doing the boss.
That is exactly what I was about to comment on, and we've seen all of Ice Palace from Illis now, and the Bombos medallion was not there, so an outside shot that the green pendant may yet pay out for Smirk here. Of course, Illis is going to show us a number of new checks here with the Dark Mountain. With the Mirror is going to be able to combo in Light Mountain, going to find those 2 additional swords here in Paradox Cave, and probably wonder, how much am I gaining here by being able to combo these versus the time that I would have saved with Butter Sword for that unfortunately lengthy Cold Stare fight. There's Argus down on Smirk's side. Captain is dashing along his merry way, probably to Graveyard Ledge, I would think.
I guess they could also check King's Tomb since they had the mirror in hand.
That is an additional possibility, a couple of items worth of density here. And this could be a tough place for some of our other contenders in the race today to get back to. It's a little out of the way. Fear and Ice, Smirk going to be in ice momentarily. We'll see this King's Tomb check on Captain's side, and Super Bunny for Illis, followed of course by Hookshot Cave. Pepper Bunny a little bit more love, and somebody did not have a great appreciation for the previous King of Hyrule. Some explosives found in the King's Tomb today.
And it's Quake being into rock. Even though it's a pendant, it's still good to know at least.
We are starting to run a little low on locations, although we'll probably hold off on saying this until we see the 3 additional checks in the Hookshot Cave, just in case it's not actually a terrible seed.
Because our other runners is also looking for the bow to finish both Pod and Eastern Palace.
Because in addition to those mitts, now that we've seen those checks in the Hookshot Cave, we'll say that the cape also showed up there, and we've seen that ice rod sitting on Bumper Ledge. How badly do we want to make a play all the way to Trinex? Illus, at the very least, is entirely interested in opening up Turtle Rock, and yeah, certainly looks like a play inside.
Alright, Smirk, what are you thinking now? Oh yeah, that's right, you don't have the... We already know it's a Misery Mire, but of course you don't know that for sure.
First check of TR coming up key. You do need to find a small key within these first 3 at a bare minimum to be able to continue on in the dungeon. And what actually did become of Smirk's Ice Palace play? I thought he was swimming right over there, and now he's in the mire area.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Smirk.
Blinking, you missed that one apparently. I'm going to hope that maybe our chat caught whatever went on there. And that is a glorious go mode layout for Turtle Rock, but it's a pendant dungeon, and that is not at all what Illus is here for. Fear Agent picking up crystal number 4 there off Cold Stare. The Butter Sword making that fight reasonably free and easy. Has not found all of the items, maybe ducked back in and now has ducked back out again, so no telling. And whatever was the cause of Smirk's temporary delay in Ice Palace, he is now back and is going to go ahead and go around again.
I think he ran out of magic or something? Maybe?
That would be an unfortunate position to be in, and entirely possible. You do need a little magic to lay that Cane to Samaria block down.
I don't know what honestly happened. It was... Oh, he was select buffering. Okay.
Oh, accidentally save and quit out? That's rough.
Oh, man.
Yep, there's a reason why I do this with menu buffers instead of pause buffers, and that's it. Captain, it appears, has designs on left side swamp here, has yet to get to the back, is not going to find anything on left side. We've seen that from Smirk already. Well, Fear Agent is up on Dark Mountain, and Illus is slowly working the way back towards the back half of Turtle Rock. Still have not seen anything pop out that caused Illus to jump away. So we're going to get the Mimic Cave check on Illus's side here. And this is probably one of those times, since Illis is the only one who's going to give us new information here for a hot minute, to say we're an hour into this thing. If you've been enjoying the show that these runners have been putting on, do give them a follow, show them some love in their own channels. Now, I can say from experience that they do run rando in their own time. It's not just during speed gaming dailies that these guys are playing Link to the Past Randomizer. And it's always nice to have somebody drop by and say hi if you've been enjoying the show they've been putting on for you. Feel free. There's more rando to be seen from each and every one of these runners today. We'll go ahead and round out those thoughts by saying that I am MindDM. I am joined on the comm today by Torin the Dragon, our trackers, our Professor Renderer, and Professor Pixie. Two professors and no waiting when you need to get your tracking done for the Speed Gaming Daily Series race.
Ooh. Good old half magic sitting there in Crystal Roller Room. Really good find.
It's a nice safety, but again, it's one of those things that Illis is probably thinking, I wish this had just been the bow or the bombos medallion so I could actually get on with this thing.
Yeah.
There's Smirk finally tucking crystal number 4 into the bank here at an hour and 5. And Captain is on into the back of Swamp Palace now, is going to head down to Diver Down Room, is going to get those mitts here momentarily. This is an interesting position for Smirk. Having already seen that Ice Rod, still knows that he's a couple of items away from Go Mode. At the very least, we know that he had that information. I'm not sure if Beer Agent and Illis had gone and checked out that bumpered ledge. But with that cape in hand, I'm mildly surprised, now that we're up onto Dark Mountain, that there has not been any runner to go and avail themselves of that Ice Rod. Captain, having the same idea that Smirk did, is going to go ahead and defeat Argus while he is in the dungeon.
It's like when you already went through pretty much the whole dungeon to get here. Wouldn't mind actually doing that myself, especially since it is a green pendant.
You're already there, it is the green pendant, and, not always the easiest thing to come back to. You're as close as you're ever going to get to it right now.
Illis returning the mushroom to the witch to come back for the one item later.
Going to make the quick King's Tomb check and then just flute back over, it looks like.
Hey, actually, I guess mushroom was in Turtle Rock.
I think that was about the only thing that we saw in Turtle Rock, so Illis kind of banking on that being a thing. Otherwise, that play over into TR has not really paid dividends. Now, maybe one of our trackers can help with this. Was there an item on Trinex, or is it just a dungeon item? Smirk opting for Spike Cave, just 3 explosives here.
This is going to be a little bit disappointing seeing that Ether Medallion.
Sees the Ether Medallion, says, nope, you know what? I know what I need, and that's not it. Right color, wrong symbol. Another cleanly executed super speed Harapot there on Illa's side is going to find the second item here after the drop.
I think Smirk is finally deciding to get the ice rod, perhaps.
Getting the ice rod could also do Smith sequence while he's in the area. It would make at least some sense.
Oh, he's not doing that.
Probably going to go all the way over here, loop in King's Tomb Graveyard Ledge, and then work the way back west.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Otherwise, you kind of wind up orphaning these couple of locations pretty hard. Now, we've seen with the flute and the boots, you can dash back over here reasonably quickly, but if you're going to be in the area now for other checks, kind of looping them all in does make sense. And Fear Agent has shown us the menu has no dungeon items left, one chest unopened on Laser Bridge, and the boss. So we do not have an item left in Turtle Rock proper. There is that pendant still outstanding, I will say.
And somehow ending Bombos being on ped is just gonna feel really bad.
Bombos possible. Bow also possible.
Yeah, no one has checked ped yet. So it could be anyone's game at the moment.
And this is interesting. Smirk, rather than going for the Smith chain, picking up that ice rod, is going to go over to Bolus Palace of Darkness instead. Also going to turn in the green pendant on the way. This could be an interesting piece of information. This is something that I believe everyone but Illis has, but just 20 bucks. Now, Illis may be in a position to actually give us our ped check here, has finally gone back into Skull Woods and picked up the book. Smirk is going to see the Bowlock come out here bright and early. I believe has a potion, so can sequence break if that is the intention, but we've seen that on Fear Agent's side, and nothing came of it. Illis has eyes on that ice rod. Here we go. The thought has crept into the mind. We may have a ped seed. And Smirk is choosing not to sequence break here, is instead going back over to the village portal. Captain still trying to pull the remainder of the items out of Ice Palace. Fear Agent also heading for that ice rod. It seems that all of our runners are coming up ice at the moment. 3 of them ice rod and the other one is in Ice Palace.
It looks like Illis has the book in hand. It looks like that they're going to read the ped because it is actually required. But it feels like at this point, it feels like more than likely it is.
At this point, the likelihood seems to be fairly high. We are running more than a little low on possible locations.
Yep, there's Bombas on ped.
Burn, baby, burn. Fear my ring of fire.
Oh my gosh, it's a ped seed. What is this seed?
Now, this will be interesting because Smirk does not have that information, but did pick up the ice rod, but went into Hera earlier and did not clear it out. Now, with Herapot, getting back to the boss of Tower of Hera is reasonably trivial. So he'll be in
Especially,
decent shape here if he, either does not count his items or decides that he just wants to take a flyer on Head at this point.
well, luckily for him, since he's doing TR, only thing that Smirk could possibly do is hopefully, after finishing TR, is to kind of mirror back and finish out Tower of Hera. Let's just hope he does that. We don't know what the runner's actually going to do, but this could be ideal for him.
That is the hope. It's just kind of a question of what mindset is he in, what checks does he know he has left. Meanwhile, before it kind of drops out from the front of mind, Captain does pick up that fourth crystal off of Cold Stare there, has tied the crystal count back up between our runners once again. And Illis, the only one of our runners who did not go and beat Argus the first time through, is going to go back through and beat Argus now.
Feels kind of upset that Ellis has to come back to do this again.
That's one of those things that all three of the other runners decided to guard themselves against, having to make that second full run through the Swamp Palace to just kill the boss. Green Pendant would have been an interesting location for the bow to turn up, but Smirk has shown us that it was just that red rupee, so kind of looking like we're going to see a bow tucked away in mire at this point. Tier Agent with that similar idea to guard against the possibility of Ped, having not read it yet, but going to go ahead and clear out Moldorm while he's in Tower of Hera. Captain going to get the blue potion and other items of questionable value out of Hookshot Cave. We'll see what his next play is. Smirk getting a little bullied in that room before the Vanilla Big Key location. So Captain does not appear to be interested in Turtle Rock at this time, is instead back at that village portal. It seems like all of our runners have been congregating around that for quite a while now.
I think Captain might be getting the ice rod at this point. I don't know. I don't know what else that they have gotten. Looks like he is going straight to get ice rod.
Pick up Ice Rod before the TR play makes a lot of sense. It's one of those, how much did you really want to hedge your bets there?
You know, honestly, I think that's also very true. We have not seen anyone do Smith Chain yet.
That would be an interesting location for the bow to pop up. Smirk seeing that arrow of destiny tucked away in Mimic Cave, where Ganon thinks he's going to be safe from it. Oh, Fear Agent is back in Swamp, and I see that we have now untracked the Swamp Palace pendant. Maybe we were a little hasty in calling that a play that three of our runners made. I think that might have just been our right side runners, because here he is making that pendant play.
It happens.
So while I had thought that maybe Fear Agent was going to be the first runner in position to show us the blind ped pull, having all three of those medallions in her, the pendants in hand, Illis may be on the fast track here. But Captain has now done hammer pegs and does have our good buddy the bullfrog in tow.
Smart finally getting the mushroom out of the laser bridge.
We know that that's just another heart container, and Smirk is going to continue to the boss. Whether or not he is aware of this fact, this is going to work out for him. Of course, he still does have that Tower of Heraclear outstanding, so Illis is going to be a little ahead in collecting all three of the pendants.
Good old Trinex being a little trivial with Buttersword.
Little trivial with Butter Sword and Half Magic. There's not a lot to worry about there. When you have the red mail, even the boss itself does not do too much damage to you. And the invisible purple chest turn in on Captain's side, just resulting in a piece of heart.
I guess the chain was not the answer this time. Interesting. So a bow is somewhere tucked in Mr. Meyer. So it kind of has to be at this point, right?
Unless we have badly forgotten about something.
Professor
Wonder what
Render is
Smirk
telling
is.
us. Well, I'm sorry. Professor Render is saying it, and it has to be Meyer with the bow.
And we have Smirk back in the village, is going to get back into that portal. It's been Grand Central Station at the Dark World portal above Kakariko Village. And no, this appears to be a plate of the ped. Smirk, please. You were already up on the mountain. Why not just go clear Hera?
And just do everyone a favor and do a blind head pull.
We will not have a blind ped pull from Smirk today. That is now assured. And there is Illis picking up that third pendant off of Trinex. Well, we know what time it is because Smirk has already now seeing what Illis saw before. A ring of fire, the Bombos medallion tucked away there on the pedestal, just waiting for our runners to come and claim it. Looks like Smirk going to go ahead and turn that mushroom in first against the chance that this is the bow, and going and clearing Tower of Hera would be go mode.
The thing is, I feel like if I don't know, it'd be kind of weird to say something like if they could just take powder. Because it could be something there on Magic Bet still.
Fake powder, absolutely an option that was available to our runners, but none of them seem to have wanted to make that particular play.
As Atlas is pulling the pen, as we already know, it is Bombos.
one swirling coin later, Illis is going to dash back out, get the flute out, and is going to be just beelining for Meyer. I cannot imagine another play here. While Captain did stop off and get that Ice Rod before coming to Turtle Rock. Still in the beginning of this is going to get that kind of false friend in the go mode layout of a big key and a couple of small keys in the front. And we also have Fear Agent back up on the mountain. Still needs to clear out Turtle Rock to be able to pull Ped. And has a very uncooperative Dead Rock there and is now stuck in the Dead Rock. First, the Dead Rock wouldn't get out of the way, and then when Fear finally slashed it out of the way, it got stuck on him, and he got stuck on it. There's Smirk picking up that pendant off of the boss of Tower of Hera. And a quick trip back over to Ped is going to reward him with that same Bombos medallion that Illis has already picked up.
And of course, it's a Godmire situation.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be? And of course, in a situation like this where you're one from go and you haven't seen any items yet, why not just go to the boss? If the boss has your bow, you save a whole lot of time checking everything else, and you're in go mode.
Yep. Smirk finally pulling Ped, getting that Bombos medallion.
These Chain Chomps not playing particularly kindly with Captain at the moment. Going to take some iframes there on the peg to prevent being chomped. Illis hitting that switch and then remembering, wait, it was Godmire, I didn't need to hit that switch, I should probably hit it again so that I don't have anti-fairies going everywhere.
Yep. The only problem is Illis is thinking that they set up Spooky and seemed like they didn't get it set up.
It looked to me like the setup was okay, but, you know, sometimes the game is just not cooperative as a runner might like.
Mm.
Fear, just continuing to charge straight on through Turtle Rock here, is heading for Trinex just as quickly as he possibly can.
It was a little bit upsetting that, you know, some of these runners had a double dip Turtle Rock, but it's okay. It happens.
And one of those fights that's not nearly so much fun. Vitreous without a bow, but Illis takes care of it nonetheless. It's just a small key, so unfortunately the go mode attempt has failed, and we're going to have to come back in for items. But that is crystal number 5 on the board for Illis at an hour and 28 minutes. To go along with those 3 full pendants that our runners were forced to collect.
So it could be. So this is also an interesting turn of events. Honestly, with this seed so far, is there could be both. You know, it could be a bow in here, more than likely, or it could be a powder for the magic bats.
That is our other possibility. There is Trinex down on Fear Agent's side, going to get that last pendant and be able to go pull the pedestal for Bombos. And Smirk has chosen not to dive directly for the boss here. Now, whatever the play winds up being, whichever chest is actually going to be the location our runners are seeking, this is actually going to work out for them, but it is kind of an interesting maneuver.
There's item number 1 being 100 rupees. So it's literally a 50-50 chance of bow or something else to unlock the bow, which is only powder at this point, I think.
Well, with the 2 progressive bows placed in the pool, we've got a better chance of it being the bow, but, kind of like going for that 2 and 3 shot.
And there it
there it
is.
is! Hey, check out the big chest there. If you had just ducked a little south after finding your big key there in the spike chest, you would have been okay, and Smirk going to lose some time, unfortunately, having decided to check cutscene chest.
Illis being the first on the restream to be in go mode.
Given how roundabout it all was, probably doesn't even feel terrible about the time that he hit go mode. Aside from the fact that the seed was just kind of roundabout and not the kindest thing in the world. But as far as where might I be in relation to my opposition, that probably feels like, I had to do all of this. It was functionally all dungeons. I know that I have a reasonable execution gap over a number of people in this race. I feel like I'm in a pretty okay spot here.
The good thing about being and doing pod is you can easily mirror back after you finish pod to do Eastern. Literally 2 easy dungeons.
That's nice, and then you come out of Eastern at the end of it, and you're already in the light world. You can go ahead and flute away. Of course, Illis is going to still have to find the big key in here. That's something that Fear did on the sequence break earlier.
What was Crystal's 5 and 6 again?
Well, they both had to be Dark World. That much I'm sure of. Was Palace of
I
Darkness
think.
one of them, I think?
Oh, I think it was like Skullwoods too.
And Captain has also made the choice to go ahead and take on Trinex on the first trip into the dungeon here, going to be rewarded with that pendant, still going to have to clear out Hera as well before being able to pull Ped. Looks like Fear is also heading for the boss first here in Mire, so going to be in there moments after Smirk, but Smirk does have the bow in hand.
Looks like Illis is trying to clean out pod just in case somehow Silvers end up being in here.
I don't believe that Illis has found the big key just yet.
Oh, that's fair.
Yep, not one of the skippable big keys, unfortunately. Even if it happens to be buried all the way in the very back of this dungeon, you still have to go and fetch it. I do see chat there saying that smirk routing is a thing. Well, at least we didn't see the fishbone room today. There's that big key for Illis tucked away in the top left of the dark maze, so finally able to head for the boss.
Or agent using some no major glitches logic to take care of these eyes.
Yep, you get in there, you just kind of back in, take the one hit of damage off of the slime rather than the eyeballs, hope that you don't poke any of them while you're moving into position, and then release the spin and hit just as many as you can. That is crystal number 5 on the board for Fear Agent. That ties him back up with both Illis and Smirk, but Illis is just about to pick up crystal number 6 here, and Smirk is heading that direction as well. Fear, of course, with that crystal in hand, still has to come back in and find where the bow is hiding. Going to need to make his way over to the big chest of Misery Mire to be rewarded with that particular item. Captain in Tower of Hera not performing Herapot, so has gone down and sat through the coffee break to pick up the big key. And here we are, an hour and 35 minutes into the seed. We finally get to say hello to the Helmasaur King, and Illis is just gonna go a hacking and a whacking with that hammer to knock the mask off.
And with Buttersaur, all you have to do is just make sure you hit the little exposed spot on his forehead, and down he goes.
Yep, a couple of pats of butter does get the job done. And Illis catches crystal number 6. Fear Agent going to go ahead and join Smirk in Palace of Darkness here. Now, of course, Fear Agent cleared the rest of this out earlier with a sequence break, so is looking for a very minimal amount of stuff. Just needs a small key and knows where to find one. While Captain is having a bit of an argument with this worm here, does manage to get it. Was nearly knocked off, but did salvage the play. And that is all 3 pendants for Captain.
Your agent actually just now pulling slightly ahead since he sequence break it.
Having already been in here and found the big key, only needed to find one more small key to actually get through one last door. Of course, this Mimic does not appear to be cooperating with him in the slightest. But Illis is very shortly going to be fighting the Armos Knights, so we may get something that approximates simultaneous boss fights over here, but it's going to be one crystal to Illis's advantage. Smirk is right on top of this big key. While Captain, the 4th of our featured runners today, to pull the Bombos medallion off of the pedestal. Yes, we did have a ped seed today, and a couple of our runners did kill Aga 1, although it was not required.
Somehow, Smirk could have had this whole time if he had somehow just blind pulled pad just a little bit. But it's okay, it happens with everyone.
Yeah, entirely understandable at the point where he was actually in Pendant Hera, not wanting to spend the extra time with no item on Moldorm to go up there and kill it. You know, there were other choices that could have worked out, but, you know, it really would have been in the nature of, I'm gambling against this being a ped seed at 45 minutes. You know, it would have worked out this time, but gambling ped like that all the time is going to lose you more time than it gains.
Oh yeah, that's right. We are playing a certain game.
Indeed we are. You blink and you miss that Armos kill on Illa's side, but that is 7 crystals well in hand, and 3 pendants to go along with it. That means that it is indeed that time for Illis to climb the mountain one last time and head for Ganon's Tower, where there are 22 possible locations in the basement where that big key could be tucked away today. Going to need to rummage around in the basement of that tower just long enough to find it and then climb the tower. You have to climb the tower to have the argument with the wizard one more time, and then face off against the pig. So how about you, Torrin? Do you have any particular favorites as far as key placements go for the GT Big Key?
It's always funny when I always see the big key just sitting there on Bob's torch.
Yeah, that'll tend to be 1, 3, or 7, depending on how the runners decide they want to check things. Given the roundabout nature of the seed, I'm feeling something more like behind Ice Armos, so probably something in the 17 range for me.
Hmm. Check number 1. Oh, it's check number 2!
We have a full god GT after all of the shenanigans that this seed has played on our runners. It says, okay, you've suffered enough, just have your big key and your small key, go climb the tower and win the game.
Funny thing is, like, I already saw chat say, like, somehow if Ganon says, have you found my silvers in the light world? We definitely know that Magic Bat is holding the silvers.
That would be the option. Now, the more likely possibility here is that with only 2 checks made in Ganon's tower, that he's going to say, did you find the arrows in my tower? And we'll say, no, dingus, because you put the keys right under the doormat.
Yep. Fear Agent
also...
I was going to say Fear Agent finally get his 7th crystal.
Yep, 7 crystals for Fear Agent, going to follow Illis up the mountain, and Smirk going to have to do just a little more work to get to that 7th crystal yet. Seems to have spawned all 4 of the Stalcos in this room. And Captain having maybe a little trouble with that torch puzzle, but has finally gotten them all lit. The wall is going to slide away off screen, and we will be waiting just a little while longer for that bow to appear on Captain's side. Once again, Blinken, you've missed this climb from Illis already through Landmo 2. I was about to say Moldorm 2. Not quite that fast.
Imagine if that actually somehow happens. You literally blinked, and then open up your eyes. You're already, on Aga 2. But,
Gets to go through a couple of the more satisfying rooms in the game where you get to use the Cane of Samaria to just make Wizrobes do a magic trick and go away. Smirk into this Armos fight. Captain has the bow in hand now and is heading for the boss of Misery Mire. A little bit of a stick refund for Smirk there, and crystal number 7 on the board for him as well. Looks like Illis checking an on-the-way chest there, gets a stick refund, but without the silvers appearing is not going to get anything more out of it.
Only thing is, I'm going to laugh if somehow silver's actually just sitting there on validation check.
That would not be the first time that I have seen the silvers in the ultimate chest of the game. Ganon, why would you think that that is a safe hiding spot?
I don't know. I always laugh a little bit when it's either. It always happens before pre-Moldorm for me, where it's either in the mini Helma 2 chest or somehow in pre-Moldorm chest.
And there it is. The ultimate chest of the game has its vanilla value today. 20 rupees. Unlikely to be a true concern for any of our runners. With 16 plus hearts, we have as many as 18 over there on Smirk's side. That Butter Sword going to get the job done. Half magic, the lamp. Even if you were to happen to miss Torch Glitch somehow, you're in pretty decent shape, all things considered. Captain going with cape strats here on Vitreous, with that Butter Sword just gonna kinda stand there in the goo and slash away as you're slashing. The cape's magic drains a little more slowly, another one of those instances of the game not really doing two things at the same time terribly well.
Illis finally getting Aga 2, finally is going to see a pig.
Have to go see a pig about some bacon and a Triforce. Smirk now into GT, while Fear Agent is on to Landmo 2. Smirk about to get some very good news here, and that was a very nice Fire Rod Landmo 2 by Fear Agent. That Medusa statue not able to really cause any trouble at all.
Still could be anyone's game at this point, but still, Illis is finally doing some dash strats on the pig.
Captain heading for those last couple of crystals over in the eastern and pod area. And Illis already into phase 3 and 3/4 of the way through. Ganon is about to tell us most likely that the arrows are just, hiding in his tower. Illis going to go ahead and catch that Torch Glitch for ease of use. Is now just, what is it, 10 more spins away from victory? Maybe 9? I think he did get one right off of the text box.
Yeah, and Ganon did say he did lock his silvers in his tower. Of course.
Not terribly surprising, it was by far the most item-dense location left in the game, but with a big key and a small key that early, our runners were not going to be checking most of those possible locations.
Yep.
Gauntlet 1 not treating Smirk terribly well, but that is 12 spins into the pig, and the pig explodes for Illis, going to stand there with that sword raised in the victory pose for just a few seconds while the fanfare plays out.
As Illis finally finished first place on the restream, finishing in third place overall.
Yep, we did have a few finishers off restream, but that is GG's for Illis, with a race time GG time of 1 hour, 46 minutes, and 52 seconds.
Oh, I'm actually sorry. It was fourth place. I didn't realize. Got sniped for third place.
Yep, there was a bit of a snipe there. We had some off-stream runners go ahead and finish this thing up. Vortex of Doom first overall with a very tidy 1 hour, 33 minute, and 13 second time. Structural Mike just a minute and a half later with a 134.50, and Scupula pulling into that third place with the snipe 146.43, just 9 seconds ahead of Illis. Very nicely done.
By the way, GG Illis.
And we are joined in the booth by Illis. Good game to you.
Thank you guys, GG's.
So what did you think about the ped?
Pardon me?
The ped.
Yeah, it was a pet seat. I was somewhat relieved because, or like, at some point where I was like 120 in and nothing had worked out, I was like, yeah, maybe it's a pet seat, and then it's kind of bad for most people, right? So in that regard, I was glad. I was definitely not glad because nothing else worked out. Starting with the early game, I got baited into Aghanim. Then I decided to, go to Zora, get my progression, found the glove, didn't have 7 rupees, had to go to Catfish for my 300 rupees. Okay, fine. then I decided to do Swamp Palace early as some kind of gamble, right? To get ahead, maybe to find something useful, and I found the myths. And I mirrored out in a pet seat, of course. And I didn't do the front of Skullwood, which had the book, which could have given me information. Like, that was cursed, man. That was so cursed. Also,
Now, you were not the only one of our restreamed runners who did go ahead and make that early Aga play and who did mirror out after those myths. Fear Agent did the same thing, and Fear Agent is in phase 4 on the Ganon fight even as we speak.
yeah, Fear Agent can make those relatively bold calls, so I assumed he might have had the same fate as I did. I feel bad for him.
Yeah, our two maybe a little bit newer runners decided to be more thorough with their checks before Aga, so both Smirk and Captain managed to avoid that Aghanim play. And there is Fear Agent crossing the bridge after having that pig explode and the fanfare play out. So get your GGs in chat for Fear Agent, going to finish second on the restream and 6th overall with a time of 1 hour, 49 minutes, and 52 seconds. We had another snipe here between Illis and Fear Agent finishing. Scottish Brave coming in 7 seconds before Fear Agent with a 149.45. And we are also joined in the booth here now by Fear Agent. Good game to you.
GG's. Illis, did you do Aga?
Of course I did Aga. I had a miserable time in this seat.
Picking the Smith Chain, Dig Game, Stumpy, and K45 because I kept feeling like if any of the items are there, I'm like totally boned. But after doing that,
I didn't do those either, actually. I was like after my TR dip and whatnot, and it was already pretty late in the seed, right? And so I figured I should check pedestal, especially since I found the ice rod somewhere in between. And so I went down that line, and I never really got to check those smiths.
I got the book super late, like after my TR dip, so I didn't even clear them up. So I had to go back. I had to go back to Turtle Rock. I had to go back to the swamp, and I didn't even check the pedestal at that time, so I still wasn't 100% sure. But
yeah, same for me. I skipped the front of Skullwoods because the early game was really trash. I got baited into Aga. I missed 7 rupees for Zoro when I was there, and I had to come back. Like it was so awful.
yeah, if I had ped knowledge, I definitely would have not have done double dipped swamp. If I had ped knowledge, I feel like I might have been a little bit more thorough, but after leaving Skull Woods, because I did Thieves Town, Village of Outcasts up to Skull Woods, and I'm like, got the flute. I'm like, that's good enough. We'll get out of here. And did the mountain, then did swamp, and got mitts, and checked the chest after the flooded chests, and left. Saw I needed bombos, did IP, and then I went up to the mountain. It was like not having information really kind of made it worse.
I did the same. I felt like it was such a low percent thing. Like I thought it was very, very likely that it's an Aga seed, and I thought it was very, very likely that after the Mids and Swamp Palace, there was probably nothing I needed, because I had Ice Palace, I had East Death Mountain, I had Dark Death Mountain, I could dip TR, and once I found the bow, I could do the rest of Pod and stuff, right? So I don't know. It felt like the stars coincided and everything went wrong.
Yeah, after I did Aga and Pod was bow locked, and then I mimic clipped and got nothing out of Pod, I was pretty tilted. And then I did Eastern and got nothing. I did Catfish first because I was like, please Aga be required. And I did everything but Zora until the very end. So I was like super duper last location because I cleared all of Pod that I could out of logic. So
yeah, makes sense.
I was like, okay, it's bow lock, but whatever. Maybe I could find something here. And the fact that like nothing was there. I guess the other bow was in GT, right? So
Yeah, Gannon said something about it.
Not like you guys were ever going to check that with a God GT on your hands.
yeah.
Yep.
The one nice thing is they give us the key and big key in the hope room, which was nice. But after that, everything else was awful.
And here we are. Smirk has also defeated Ganon and has crossed the bridge. That is good for 3rd on the restream and 8th overall with a time of 1 hour, 54 minutes, and 12 seconds. There was a finisher in between Fear Agent and Smirk JG. That was BSJ 72380 with a 153.20 time. And coming in here, hot on Smirk's heels, we have Joss Bleedin in 9th with a 154.26 and Freddy in 3K with a 155.08.
I guess to get the 130 time, you have to be pretty thorough. Not do AGA. You have to get the book out of Skullwoods and read the tablet.
You'd
and
have to
then
be a
not
coward.
You're not doubling TR.
I can see the doubling TR under certain circumstances, but yeah, probably not.
It just never feels good when you literally last location the hammer after doing AGA.
And we are now joined in the booth by my good buddy, the baby-faced assassin, Smirk JD. Good game to you.
Thank you. GG's to everybody here. I don't know about that assassin part today, though. Though I was happy with the hammer find.
So you didn't do AGA?
I
No,
sure
I didn't.
wasn't. I sure wasn't. GG Smirk.
Yeah, I found GG to both of you guys. Yeah, so I kind of messed up and accidentally like saved and quit instead of like continuing with my water checks. But it kind of helped because then I went to Eastern. I dipped into Eastern and I found enough money to be able to do Zora. So when I went back to the water checks, I found the shovel, and that's where I got the hammer from, was the shovel. So, right? Did I play the right seed? Okay. So I was happy and I didn't have to do AGA there, so. But you guys both did AGA?
Yeah, for
Yes.
sure.
Wow. Dang. Okay. Well,
I mean,
Yeah.
Coming out of Kakariko, I had less than 100 rupees. So, like, Zora wasn't even on my mind. And then the fact that I got, what was it, like the glove on the ledge, I was like, oh, I mean, Zora's not going to have anything, right?
oh, so you guys last located Zora, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, geez, that's
I
rough.
also got the lamp before I did the damn left and got the lamp. So I was like, oh, this is clearly an AGA seed. And I got the gloves and everything.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we both did that. I have already stated my misery a lot, but maybe you're gonna rewatch that if you do. It was miserable for, I think, both Fear and me.
Oh, no, that's so sad. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you
It's
guys
okay, that
also
happens.
do Skullwoods before having the book to check the pedestal?
No.
We both left Skullwoods.
Yes, we
After
both
killing Mob.
left the book in front of Skyward, so we didn't know until very late.
Oh, no. Yeah, so I messed that up too. I went to the back first, and then I got the book. I should have just checked the pedestal then. That would have saved me some time. But the other thing, like, I accidentally, when doing Icebreaker, I used Select Buffer, and accidentally saved and quit out of there, so that was rough. And then I meant to check the Ledge in King's Tomb. I meant to grab the ice rod on the way, because my plan was to go up to Turtle Rock anyway, but I forgot it. So I climbed up the mountain and did the Dark Death Mountain, and I was like, oh dang it, I didn't get the ice rod. So then I actually got the ice rod again. So too. A lot of backtracking for me, so that's the fun. But other than that, I guess I routed it a little bit nicer, except for I have a higher collection rate. I think mine was 172. So I don't know. I probably just grabbed items you guys didn't get, you know, like heart pieces and stuff.
We both didn't do Smith chain, actually.
Oh, I didn't either.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't do, let's see. I mean, I full cleared Turtle Rock because I didn't know it was just pendant required. They didn't. Penguin is saying they didn't grab an 18th heart when they saw it. Did I grab an 18th heart?
I think you did.
Oh man. Yeah. So how's Captain doing? Is he on the way to GT now?
Captain does have 7 crystals now and is working his way through the Dead Rocks to the Turtle Rock portal. Is going to be heading for Ganon's Tower here momentarily.
Awesome. So what you guys are saying is, even though I routed and skipped 6 minutes of time that you guys had to do Aga, I still was behind by like 10 minutes. All right.
I mean, you're a relatively new runner, right?
Yeah, relatively.
Yeah, I mean, Illis and I have been racing this for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah,
now.
you guys are awesome.
And we've been, and
Thank you.
we started on the dailies as well in the same spot that you're in. So it takes time, and you see everyone, you want to like, I want to be just like that. But you know, Ellis and I've done thousands of races, so you'll get there. You just got to put the time in and keep practicing, and it'll be fun. So
For sure. One of these days, I'll be able to put up a challenge for you guys.
I mean, I've been
Yeah,
working to challenge Ellis since I first started, and I still haven't got there. So
3 minutes, man. That's close.
that's the story of my life with Ellis. He always beats me by at least 3 minutes.
Oh no.
That's okay.
It's bad.
I got to go eat some lunch though, so I appreciate everyone doing this and volunteering and putting in the work. It's really awesome, and I hope everyone had fun with that awesome, awful seed. We'll see you guys next time.
See you
GGs.
here. Enjoy lunch.
Yeah.
But yeah,
First time ever doing this.
the first time you've been doing a daily race?
Well,
Commentating?
no, commentating.
I'm sorry.
Welcome. Welcome. I remember my first time. I've only done like maybe like 10 now, I think. So I'm kind of new at that too, but it's fun. Did you enjoy it?
Oh, I enjoyed it.
Okay.
At least I get a good somewhat. I know like the scene was bad for you all, but seeing bad.
It's good entertainment, right? It's good entertainment. So,
Chat's always pet hyping, so.
Glad you enjoyed it.
Oh yeah.
Yep, chat has to get their wish every once in a while, or they'd probably find something else to watch, right?
Right.
Rando has to pay out for them occasionally.
And you had a really great PokeCon, right? Mindium? I always love commentating with Mindium, so.
Oh, I enjoyed him very much. He
That's
was
good.
pretty good.
That's awesome. Oh, goodness.
Well,
Did you
we
guys have any questions for like me? Did I do anything strange to you? Like, were you just like, why are you doing this right now? Or did everything I do make kind of at least a little bit of sense? Besides the mistakes.
Yeah, there was certainly that save and quit out of ice, and we had both missed it at the time, so, you know, the commentary went from, well, Smirk's in Ice Palace to, wait a minute, Smirk's over in the Mire area, what happened to his Ice Palace play? And both of us had missed that miss menu in the pause buffer.
Wait. So now I have a question. Was I actually ahead of like Illis and Fear Agent since I skipped Aga? Like early game, did I actually like manage to squeak by, or because I dipped into Eastern did I like still game?
You were in a really strong position in the early game. Of course, they were gaining ground on you through sheer execution in the entirety of the seed. But
Right.
yeah, around the time that you were getting into Ice Palace, that there were points in that early to middle game where you had a crystal lead on everybody.
Oh my gosh! Oh, I'm so excited! I'm so happy! Yay!
Yeah, sometimes the routing just has to work out for you.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm actually kind of sorry, but I probably do have to dip early.
All right, Torin, no worries.
Well, thank you for commentating and
Thanks for
giving
commentating.
Yeah.
You're welcome. I'm actually kind of glad I get to do this more often than I should.
Yep, it was a pleasure. Look forward to doing it again sometime in the future.
Oh.
Other than that, we'll go ahead and bring this one home with Captain, who is through Landmo 2 now.
All right, y'all have fun.
Later.
Later.
Yeah, that did get a bit roundabout. Smirk, we were kind of hoping after you pulled the pendant off of TR that you were just going to go ahead and grab the pendant out of Hera and go down in blindfold, but no, you decided that you really needed to go have the look with the book instead.
Yeah, those are the things like that I mean about backtracking. Like at that point, you know, Hera was right there. Why would I, you know, why not just grab it? Yeah. So, and I even thought about doing that when I went to Bud Cave, but that made less sense to do. So I was like, eh. But after TR, I definitely should. I definitely should. It was just so much that I feel bad about the backtracking because like I said, the ice rod that was part of the plan when I went to Graveyard Ledge. So I feel like I went back to those areas like 4 times each. Like just kept going back and forth. You know, like first for Skull Woods, then for Graveyard Ledge, then for the ice rod, then for the book check, then to actually pull the pedestal, and then like same with the mountain. I just kept going back and forth, and it's just like that's so much time wasted.
Don't worry, you weren't the only one who felt that way.
Okay. Oh, geez.
Yeah, the Dark World portal above the village there at the Flute Spot to 3 was Grand Central Station this seed. Everybody was there over and over and over again. It was actually kind of funny to watch in some respects.
Oh man. So I know it's not the greatest escape time, but it's, I think, besides like, you know, finding the mirror in like Zelda Cell or something, I think it's my fastest escape time, which was like 5:45, I think. So I know that's not like great for Boots, but I'm happy with it. What's yours, Mindjam? Your fastest? With
Oh
Boots?
goodness, I'm not sure that I've tracked it. Illis, how about you?
I'm not sure either. I don't really track it. This time I had like 5:10, I think.
Whoa! Dang. Wow. You guys are just being modest. I'm tracking.
I've played this. I'm a dinosaur at this game, man. I've played this for I don't know how long.
That's awesome.
As I said, you can probably rewatch it, see the routing differences, maybe execution differences.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely rewatching it.
And how miserable it went for me. But yeah, I recommend the rewatch, I guess.
I think it'll be fun. Yeah, I think I feel good about it for me, with except for the backtracking stuff. So I think it'll be fun to watch it with you guys. Or like, you know, it's a 4-person restream too, so it's like that's the best kind because you can compare it to like 3 other people instead of just 1. You know, so I love watching the 4-player restreams. It's so cool.
I've been doing that a lot as well, especially when I wanted to learn and see what people do differently and stuff.
Right.
So yeah.
Oh,
Yep,
thanks,
always
Pegler.
nice to get
Thanks, Pegler.
always nice to get put up against some really top tier runners because they're the ones who have all of the interesting strats and tech that you get to steal.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I'm really excited about that too.
And Captain has dropped into the Ganon fight here, managed to put paid to Agate 2, is now whitting through phase 2, gonna cape up, hug that wall to hang on to some magic. Is maybe a little low on health here. I'm not entirely sure what is remaining in Captain's bottles, but you know, the Red Mail and the Butter Sword do manage to cut down the incoming damage quite a bit. One last slash into phase 4, Ganon announcing for the final time on this restream that the arrows were indeed just hidden in his tower all along. Captain catching that torch glitch with the lamp, and now it is 12 spins to win.
Oh, nice. That torch glitch.
That was an interesting backup strat you went to, Smirk, where you were doing the combined lamp and fire rod. In the future, I would suggest fire rod first, then lamp, so that the torches are distributed a little more evenly.
Yeah, thank you. I started noticing that I was like, wait, and then I started just fire up after that because I had another blue potion too, so I don't know why I was being so conservative.
Plenty of magic meter there between that blue potion, of course, the half magic that everybody found while they were, full clearing the game, because, well, when it's a
Right.
ped seed, you kind of wind up doing that. Captain
he's
going
got
to
a
go
red
ahead and dip
apple.
into that potion store here while getting these last handful of spins into Ganon. I will admit to having lost count of the total spin count at this point, but needs to be reasonably close, I would think. Silvering the pig, managed to do that earlier with a poke.
Probably got like 2 hits left.
Yeah, I don't even keep count when I'm the one actually fighting the pig, so I don't know that I can be blamed for not keeping count when I'm just watching somebody else fight the pig. You can tell me if I'm wrong, of course.
Oh well, I thought it was 2 left, so he did 2, so I don't think it's 2. He's gotten a couple of triples.
Oh no.
Oh no! Wait, I think I'm behind. You said, "Oh no!"
Well,
like 4 seconds.
you're not watching the commentary restream version,
Yeah,
so
the,
you're
the
a few seconds
commentary.
behind by watching on the
Okay,
gaming channel.
okay.
The commentary gets a bonus of watching it more quickly.
But Captain's going to go ahead and catch a fairy in a bottle and head right on back up, it appears.
Yeah, I'm sure that was an accidental fall.
Captain had been playing a little fast and loose with the bottom of the pit there. That wasn't the first time that he was at least a little close to falling in, but here we are. Again, the butter sword, the red mail, is back up to 12 hearts, so
Well, he's
not
got to be
really in a
careful
bad
here,
position.
because he used his blue potion instead of the red potion last time. So this is all the magic he has.
Going to go with this cape strat one more time, get those hits in that he needs, and then wait out all of those fire bats, turn the cape back off. Plenty of magic in hand with half magic. Halfway into phase 3, one more time. And there it is, back into phase 4. Let's go ahead and see the victory this time, shall we? Going to get the torch glitch once again. We're actually counting this time. We're up to 2 spins. That one did not count. 3 spins. And 4. 5. All you have to do is keep it clean, get into the rhythm. The pig is going to cooperate only as much as the pig wants. 6 spins. And 7, and I don't think that one counted, still at 7. There's 8. The ice rod shot coming in. Oh dear.
Oh no.
Oh no.
The lamp not cooperating well. And we do unfortunately have a forfeit from Captain 1977 at this point.
Yeah, that's frustrating. I think, like, he might have been trying to, like, use the lamp there at the bottom, and...
Trying to make sure that he had enough magic to get through the last spin or two that he needed for the victory, and
Right.
unfortunately took that down directional input and walked off.
Yeah.
But we are joined in the booth here by Captain 1977. That was an unfortunate end to an otherwise good game, so good game to you all the same.
Yeah, my silverless cannon needs work, obviously. Just found that Bicky early, didn't get a chance to look for him.
GG's to you, man.
Thank you.
GG,
Yeah.
Captain.
So what did you think about the seed overall?
Well, it was almost oops all dungeons. I just have to find turquoise access at the last minute with the hammer on the shovel. But other than that, it was bombos on the pad. What can you say? It was a seed.
Yeah. Wait, where did I find ether? I just noticed none of the other.
That was in Hera Basement.
Hera Basement.
Yeah, I didn't pick it up either.
Wait, what? I didn't. Oh, the not the basement, but like the first basement.
Yeah.
The basement cage.
Okay. Did you guys know that it wasn't like the Meyer medallion, or like?
Yes.
Oh.
I did visit Meyer right after my right after my mids, I think, yeah. And my first trip up the mountain was like very late, 1 hour in or so. So
Okay.
I did know that it was not the medallion I needed.
Gotcha.
I did Hera after Turtle Rock, so I knew it.
Same.
And the bug net, where was? Oh wait, no, we all have the bug net. It's just fear that doesn't. Never mind.
Yeah. What can he do?
Well, mostly you get to hope for a better seed next time, because this one had a bit of everything. Now, Captain, you and Smirk were not baited into the Aga play like our other two featured runners were, so you did manage to avoid at least that much of it.
Yeah, I did everything to avoid that Aga play. I mean, it's like I just had enough rupees for Zora to get the shovel. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll check the shovel. And it ended up being Hera. I was like, that was it. That's what I was looking for. Thank you.
Yeah, not gonna lie. So when I accidentally left the water area the first time, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go do Aga. And then for some reason, I was like, nah, it was a mistake. Fix the mistake. So I went back. But so.
Yeah, my only regret was not farming up a couple rupees first time I was in Zora area, because I was only like 50 rupees away from getting Zora, and I should have just stopped at a cave somewhere, picked up some rupees, hula had something. But yeah, I mean, and plus I'm sure we all quick swapped mirrored out of Eastern before too, and it happened.
That was pretty much the way the seed went for everybody. It was a whole lot of running around. The seed really did not want to give up its secrets, and of course when you wind up with something like a required medallion on PED, that's going to happen every now and again. Have any of the three of you who I still have in here with me got any final thoughts on this one before we start wrapping this thing up?
Burn it, just bury it, don't show it to me again.
Just GG's again to everybody running, and just another GG's to everybody else that was racing that wasn't on the restream as well. And once again, thank you, MindDM, and thanks to the other commentator, Torin, the trackers and everything. You guys do an awesome job. The volunteers, the restreamer, you guys really keep the stuff going, and I really appreciate it. Thanks for letting me be allowed to restream as well. So that was fun.
Yep, definitely.
Right.
Thanks. And I guess as my last words, you can't win every time. At least the seed had entertainment value, and as long as this doesn't happen in a tournament race, I guess a seed which punishes you every step
Yeah.
of the way can be like something to laugh at, and yeah.
Yeah, it's
These-
just for fun, so it's nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Punishment every step of the way, and then you walk into Ganon's tower and you get God GT. So,
Right? Yeah. That was our reward for the seed.
an hour and 40 minutes of stick and then 6 minutes of carrot.
I see why they call it Hope Room now. Wow.
There you go.
That's
There
what
you
you're
go.
going
Yep.
for.
That's the hope.
All right,
GG,
well,
guys.
thank all of you for agreeing to be restreamed. The show, of course, does not happen without runners who agree to be on the restream and show their stuff off. So, Illis, Smirk, Captain, thank you so much. If you're an agent who needed to go and get some lunch in him, thank you as well. I, of course, have been Main DM. I was joined on comms today by Torin the Dragon. We had two professors no waiting for the tracking today. Professor Renderer and Professor Pixie were our trackers. And Fear Agent, of course, did the front-end work of getting this restream set up, and then it kind of passed around through a few additional hands, but we got the job done, all things considered. So let's have a brief look forward as far as Link to the Past Randomizer on Speed Gaming is going to go. We have Open 7-7 tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, a crisscross on Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. That is going to be a treat. If you have not seen that one, that is you're going to get a little bit of everything: door rando, entrance rando, and so much more. If you need a little rando in your life on that Thursday afternoon, I do recommend turning in, and we're going to close out the week with another one of those Open 7-7 seeds on Friday at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. So, one more time, this has been the Speed Gaming Link to the Past Randomizer Daily Race Series, a casual boot seed. And this is me saying thank you so much for giving us a couple of hours of your time this afternoon. Thank you all so much, our runners, the restreamers, the trackers, my co-com, and all of you in chat for coming out and hanging out for a little while. I hope you all enjoyed. But for now, that is going to do it. Have a good afternoon, everybody.